The NFL media has been losing their minds at the idea of the Bengals paying both Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins at the same time, and per usual, they're missing the mark completely. And in this video, I'll explain exactly why. Hi again, Bengals fans. John Sheeran of A to Z Sports Cincinnati here, and I think like a lot of you guys, I was very surprised by the overall reaction to the Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins news. And I think it's because we often live in an echo chamber where we just kind of interact with people who follow the same team that we follow, so all of us kind of knew that signing Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins was going to be the plan that Cincinnati was trying to execute. We didn't know for a fact if they were going to be able to execute it, but we knew that was the plan going into this month, and when it happened, we weren't too surprised by both of them happening at the same time. But I think I can definitively say right now that the entire rest of the NFL did not expect it to happen like this. And to be quite honest with you, I can't really blame them that much because what we witnessed over the past couple of days is beyond rare. Like, I'll be totally upfront about this. I had an expectation that the T. Higgins contract would get done before free agency, and then they would focus on free agency, and they would focus then on Trey Hendrickson, Ja'Marr Chase, in whatever order it would be, but they would be taken care of later in the offseason. But as soon as free agency started, it did kind of seem like they were working on both Higgins and Chase at the same time, and then that report came out on Friday that both contracts were pretty much finalized, and they were just crossing T's and dotting I's, and at that point, you kind of figured that both of them would be announced at the same time. But again, that just doesn't happen in the NFL, or really just in sports in general. You never see two contracts of this magnitude for the same team at the same position get announced and finalized and then signed simultaneously. And while there are now clearly countless people who are so very much against what the Bengals are trying to do here and pay both of these guys at the same time, I really do feel like the simultaneous aspect of this is being overlooked, because what I think a lot of people thought this was going to be is that they get a deal done with one and then they try to make a decision as to whether or not they want to get the other guy done, when in reality, this was a package deal. And we know this because when it was first reported that the deals had been agreed to on Sunday night, obviously that report is coming from the agent's mouth, and Ari Mirov of the 3013 reported that Rocky Arsenault told the Bengals that you don't get to sign Ja'Marr if you don't also sign T. And then when Ja'Marr was asked about that at the joint press conference with T. Higgins after he signed the contract, he said, yeah, you can ask Rocky about that, but would you want to play without T? Which is more or less just a wink and nod yes. As soon as Higgins joined forces with Chase under the same representation, it was no longer an either or situation. It was either we both stay or we're both gone. And I can't quite fathom how that's not getting across to the people who think that this was a stupid decision. Because when do you ever see in the NFL two star wide receivers who could command so much leverage on the open market make the conscious decision to both stay on the same team and risk hurting their own production, risk hurting their own spotlight? Like, these guys are renowned for being divas across the NFL. That's not the case in Cincinnati, and for whatever reason, we can't just sit back and say, damn, that's cool as hell. Ja'Marr Chase is now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, a title he just earned from the guy who just had it a week ago. He could have been like, this is my receiver room, this is my offense, I'm him, this is my show. But when a reporter tried to label T. Higgins as a number 2 receiver, as the highest paid number 2 receiver, he immediately said, he's not number 2. He's a 1A. And for the guy who just won the Triple Crown at 24 years old, there is no concern here about egos or the targets that he's getting. He just wants to play with his best bud. And T. Higgins, man, $28.75 million per year is obviously a lot of money for anyone, but he would have seen significantly more than that if he were to hit the open market. If the New England Patriots had a chance to pay T. Higgins, they would have paid him at least $4 million more per year. And that's the future that he could have chosen. He could have chosen to wait this out even more to get the best possible deal with the agent that he had previously. But no, he wanted to stay with Chase. He wanted to take less to play with the team that he grew up loving. I don't know, man. If you can't see that, then this story just isn't for you. What we just witnessed may never be replicated again. People are already talking about it like it's going to be a future case study for NFL teams to evaluate and examine on if it actually worked. And I'm just saying, man, who cares if it works at this point? This is so cool and unprecedented that these two guys with all the power in the world to be the guy on their own team are just like, no, we want to be together. And if that doesn't garner your respect, I'm not sure what will.